Welcome back. In this lecture, I will walk you through the procurement of Redshift cluster from AWS console. Some prerequisites you must already have when AWS account created. Please note, Redshift cluster creation does not fall under free tier account. So just in case if you are following this lab along with me, make sure you dismantle the cluster or you delete the cluster once your work is done. I will show you even that as part of this lab. If you don't already have an AWS account created, you can watch this recording to create your own free cloud AWS account. I will put this link in this video's notes section. Now let me log into console. console.aws.amazon.com. I am logging in as a root user. Once you log into the console, you can search for the word called Redshift, or you can go to services and go to that specific Amazon Redshift service, which is under database section. So if you want to see the existing clusters you already have, click on the clusters, or you can click on the dashboard here. Let's say you see my region is Ohio region. I have 0 clusters created. And if you go to clusters, it will show if you already have any clusters under reserved nodes, snapshots of clusters. Since I don't have anything, it's not showing anything. So let me go back to the dashboard and go to that option of create cluster. So what is this reserved node? Amazon offers 3 different types of billing. You can go ahead and procure an EC2, let's say an EC2 instance on-demand mode. That means you pay per hour. And you know that you are using that EC2 instance for at least an year, you can reserve that capacity for you in advance by paying some amount or partial amount. So this is what I'm talking about. On demand, reserved, spot. So generally what people do when they play with Redshift as part of POC, proof of concept, once your POC is approved, once you move to the production, they generally switch to reserved from on demand. Spot is not fit for Redshift kind of environment. So let's say you go ahead and purchase some reserved nodes. You can see that reserved nodes information here. Since I haven't purchased any, I'm not seeing any here. Now let's go ahead and create a cluster. Click on create cluster here. Watch out, it will be hardly minutes to get this cluster up and running. Now what is my cluster name? YouTube cluster 1. What are you planning to use this cluster for? For production or for free trial? Let's select the free trial option. But please note this disclaimer. If your organization has never created an Amazon Redshift cluster, then you are eligible for free trial. But you get only DC2 of large. Generally, I've seen the production environments which go for DC or RA. So basically, these are EC2 instance modes. Let's go to production and I'll show you what options we have. If you go to production, you can create clusters of RA3. They say it's recommended, but they are costly. Or DC2. There is something called DS, but that's kind of outdated now. Right now, most of the Redshift clusters fall under either DC or RA category. But if you look at the costing here, what did we learn in our previous lecture? Redshift cluster is a combination of two or more nodes. Of course, you can have a Redshift with just one node. That's not called as a cluster. Cluster is more than one node. So the pricing you see here is per node. If you choose DC2 large, you get 2 virtual CPUs. If you choose 8x large, you get 32 CPUs. But look at the pricing. If you choose DC2, the storage you get is 160 GB per node. For this storage, for this compute, you pay $0.25 per node per hour. This we are talking about on demand. You pay per hour. Similarly, if you choose 8x, you get 2.6 terabytes. If you are going for a production, this is what I would recommend, minimum. When you're talking about a data warehouse in Redshift cluster, we are definitely talking about terabytes of data. So please at least start with this 8x large. If you take two such nodes, 32 CPUs, plus you get 2.6 terabyte. That's approximately 5.2 terabyte. Yeah, of course. If you have very high performance kind of workloads, yes, you can go for RA3 as well. So if you look at RA3 4x large, you get 12 CPU. For RA3 16x large, you get 48 CPUs. But here, the charge for storage is separate. Now, what am I selecting here? If we go for free trial, the only option available under free trial is DC2 large. So what are these configurations I'm talking about? If I put it in a notepad here, we are talking about RA category, DC category, DS. This is outdated as of now. So DC we are talking about large, 8x large. RA we have just seen 4x and 16x. Depending upon your need for storage, depending upon your need for number of CPUs, you can choose the model accordingly. DC2 offers high performance with fixed local SSD storage, high performance with scalable managed storage. The major difference between RA and DC2 is in RA, storage is no longer tied up with CPUs. That's why there is a separate charging for CPUs, nodes, and storage. Let me go for free trial. A standard disclaimer here is even though you select free trial, if you don't meet these criteria, you will be still charged. Now I'm going for DC2 large. Here, one node. But since we are talking about a cluster, let me go ahead and choose two nodes if I have an option to choose that. No, it's not allowing me for two nodes here. Now let me choose the production, but let me remind you one more time, this is going to cost you. I'm okay with the little cost. Once this lecture is complete, I would dismantle this production cluster anyway. So what I'm doing is I'm going for DC2 large. With nodes option here, I would choose two nodes. What happens when you choose two nodes? You also get one ladder node extra. As part of my previous lecture, you learned that if you have a cluster with greater than or equal to two nodes, then you get an extra ladder node. But if you have Redshift with only one node, then same node acts as both ladder and compute node. You got my point? Let's go ahead and create two nodes. So DC2 large. So you see here estimated on-demand compute price, $360 per month approximately. So per hour, how much is going to cost? One node is $0.25. So two nodes is $0.5. I think it's worth for an hour. So what is the database name? So let's say testDB1. Port is 5439. What is the master username? What is a master password? I just gave a simplest password. So do I have any cluster permissions to give? I don't have any IAM roles. That's an IAM role that can write into S3 bucket. I'm not touching any of these. I'm not touching any of these default for now. But let's go ahead and create cluster. So let's say don't use defaults and see what options we have. For example, backup. So snapshot retention. The schedule takes snapshot every 8 hours or every 5 GB of data changes per node, whichever happens first. Cross-region snapshot is disabled, but I believe cross-region snapshot option is chargeable. Let's say if you are taking a snapshot in US East and pushing that to US West, that is chargeable. So what monitoring options I have? I'm not creating any alarms. Maintenance window. So these parameter groups I would cover as part of separate recording. Network and security, I'm creating it under default VPC, but generally at workplace you have your own VPC and security groups covering this cluster. So let's go ahead with the default options. Just say create cluster. Okay, I got some errors. Must be the password. Okay. So let's make a note of these. Okay. These details somewhere. AWS user, password, database name is testdb1. So we chose DC2 large, 2 nodes. One node cost is 0.25 per node per hour. So 2 nodes cost I am looking at is 0.5 USD per hour. So how many CPUs I get? I'll get 2 CPUs. So 2 nodes. One node is equal to 2 CPU plus 160 GB. So total is I'm getting 4 CPU plus 320 GB. So we got pretty much what we needed for an infrastructure solution, right? You got CPUs, you got storage, you know the cost now. Let's go ahead and create cluster. Yeah, don't forget to note this port number 5439. Yeah, I got one more error here. Alphabetic characters must be lowercase. I used @ so it is saying that it's not allowed. It should be okay. Yes, it started creating the cluster. It's going to take few minutes. In the meantime, I'm going to pause this recording and we'll start once the cluster is ready. So the Redshift cluster creation is completed. It took approximately 4.5 to 5 minutes to kick off 2-node DC2 large cluster. If you click on this cluster, you see the status is available. Click on the cluster, status available, no type, no storage is used right now, 2 nodes. This endpoint is critical. If you want to connect from client applications, you need this endpoint. So there are various ways you can connect to a Redshift cluster. One, you can use query editor option from console that I will show as part of this lecture. You can use PSQL to connect. PSQL is PostgreSQL. Why PostgreSQL client? Because the underlying database engine for Redshift is a Postgres database engine. From an EC2 instance, I would do a separate recording for this. You can use SQL Workbench using JDBC options or ODBC options. I prefer JDBC, right? I would do a separate lecture for this. If you go to dashboard now, You would see under overview section, there is one cluster running, 2 nodes running, but all 2 nodes are on-demand nodes. There are 0 reserved nodes. There are 0 snapshots right now. So let's try to connect to this cluster. Under clusters, if you click on clusters, if you go to the cluster name and click on it, you have a query cluster option here. Create new connection, cluster. What is our database name? TestDB1. What is our database user? AWS user. What is the password I gave? The password that we gave as part of cluster creation. Connect to a database. Well, this may not give you the best interface, and at work, in production, you may not even have access to query from query editor because your infrastructure team controls these consoles. So the most feasible option you have is querying this Redshift cluster from front-end tools such as PSQL or SQL Workbench. Let's say select star from pg_database. So I'm running this query to get the list of databases we have in this cluster. You see the testDB1 database, and we have a template 1 and template 0, PADB_harvest, and there is a dev database under this cluster. These all came by default, but this is the test database I have created. Before I end this lecture, let me go back and drop this cluster or delete this cluster. I can go to clusters directly. If I click on clusters, I can see the clusters, highlight the cluster. Under go to actions. Pause is an option. You can pause. When you pause, you won't be charged for compute cost, but you still be charged for storage cost. Considering compute cost is much higher than storage cost, it's worth pausing your cluster if you don't use it and if you don't want to just delete. But in this case, I'm just deleting the cluster. I'm done with this presentation. Let me delete. Simple, delete. So it's asked me, do you want to create a final snapshot? But please note that it would be chargeable to store this final snapshot. No, I don't want any final snapshot. Just delete cluster. Yeah, if you don't want to use the production version of it, just go for a free trial where you would get DC large version with one node. That is still fine. That's it for this lecture. Thank you for watching. Please do subscribe to my channel. Have a good day.